Have you ever felt super passionate about something, but then you just don't seem to be very productive with it? Well, we should talk more about that. Hello friends, I'm Mary Beth and welcome to At What Cost. Now, I came across a proverb the other day. It was 19:2, and then this is the ESV, and it said, "Desire without knowledge is not good, and whoever makes haste with his feet misses his way." Now, this rang true for a lot of reasons. I tend to be a little bit quick to make decisions. We'll just leave it at that. I'm sort of a jump in and just hit the ground running kind of person, which perfectly is complemented by my husband, who has to think things over and really have a plan before he can move forward. So we tend to balance each other out in those ways. But thinking about this proverb and this idea of having desire without knowledge and making hasty or quick plans and missing your way, it started to remind me of some issues I had with decluttering. Now, initially, I was all in on decluttering. I had just a little bit of information. It was all I needed to really get started, and I was able to take those first steps in decluttering confidently. We decluttered our boys' wardrobes, and I was really bitten by the decluttering bug. I wanted to declutter everything. I had all of this desire well up in me to have a more streamlined home, and I started to think about all of the things that I could do if I didn't have to spend so much time managing all of my stuff. So this desire welled up within me, but there was a problem. I didn't really know a lot about how to methodically go through our things, how to maintain that momentum when things started to get a little bit hard, and how my why, or the reason that I had initially started decluttering, how that would change over time and how to respond. So much like this proverb says, I had a whole lot of desire, but not a lot of knowledge. Now, this can be true for many other things in our homes, in our families, in our lives, and especially with our spiritual health. Having a lot of emotion or desire, but not a lot of knowledge can lead us down some pretty bad paths. I can believe certain things about God, but if they're not rooted in knowledge, I've really just made God this thing in my mind that I've conjured up. It doesn't really have the solid foundation that a good base of knowledge can have. So just like I want to grow in my spiritual journey, I needed to grow in this decluttering journey and this new lifestyle as well. But just like learning any new task, I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew. I couldn't just download all of the information from the internet and magically know it. I had to go through the learning process and gaining knowledge like many of us do. I think it's pretty common to find ourselves living in what feels like a lot of chaos before we start the decluttering journey. And it's hard to learn new things when we're juggling all of this stuff. So how do we begin to slow things down so that we can learn some of this new stuff, which will ultimately send us on a good course, but also keep our desires or our emotions kind of in check as we go? We're looking for a balance between desire and knowledge. The first step is really creating a calm place in the chaos. Now, if you would like a full outline of what this actually looks like and some tips for getting your own kind of calm place in the chaos started, I would love for you to go to our website and sign up for our monthly newsletter. Mostly monthly. Sometimes we're a little few and far between, but that's okay. I certainly will not be spamming your email box with newsletters, but you can get my free guide to setting up a quiet time space. So I will leave the link for that in the description below. But setting up this calm space in your chaos is like creating a place of refuge in your home that may feel very overwhelming. This is a space that is going to begin to give you a sense of what the whole rest of your house could feel like. It's a spot for you to practice daily maintenance of tidying up an area without feeling like you have to do your whole house, especially if much of your home still feels very overcluttered and just not very easy to tidy. But more importantly, this is a place for you to begin to increase your knowledge. Now, of course, because this is a faith-based channel, I want to center this place around my daily quiet time. Doing all of the research on the internet about how to donate things and how to decide what to get rid of and what to keep is really good and valuable and will help you in your minimalism journey. But what is going to make the actual difference in your motivation, in keeping you on track, and really understanding how you view your stuff and what that looks like with your actions, increasing your knowledge in your actual biblical literacy, what you believe, and spending time in prayer is going to go so much further than any 5 or 20 or 37 tips for things that you need to have in your house or not in your house, or how to do it fast. All of those tips are going to essentially be worthless if our spiritual health is really unwell. Now, for a few years, I have used this spot in our bedroom. I have a good light, I have a comfortable chair, and I have a nice little table here that I can put my coffee on. I try to set my coffee maker to make coffee automatically the night before. I'll do all of those things so that all I have to do is run downstairs, make my coffee quick, let the dog outside, and then I'm right back up here to start my quiet time. This space is one that I want to protect. Any small distraction, like a pile of laundry in this chair, could potentially derail all of my efforts to find a little bit of calm in the chaos. Now, if you already have a quiet time routine, I would encourage you to do a little reflection. Is your current quiet time routine actually working for you? Do you feel comfortable with it? Is it starting to feel a little too comfortable and it's time to switch things up? Spend some time reflecting on your current practices, and once you get those kind of evaluated and lined out, then skip on ahead to designating a certain place. Now, if you don't already have a quiet time, you want to spend some time deciding how you're going to spend time in God's Word and maybe gathering some resources for prayer. Now, I have a few videos that I can link in the description that can help you better understand things like prayer or Bible study. There are certainly no shortages of study Bibles or Bible studies or reading plans. One of the things that I do in my quiet time is the Bible recaps. And it's a good, quick 10-15 minutes of Bible study. It's pretty theologically solid. I have really enjoyed the Bible recap. That would be an incredibly easy place to start if you have not really spent much time in personal Bible study. Spending a little bit of time deciding what you're going to do as you dig into God's Word will really go a long way in motivating you to keep going with it. Much like I mentioned earlier, it's not just a pile of laundry that may dissuade you from doing this. Anytime we want to start a new habit, it can be challenging, but especially when it comes to prayer and God's Word, there is a special kind of spiritual warfare that wants to prevent us from doing it. And something as simple as not really knowing what you're going to read before you get there can certainly motivate us to just throw in the towel altogether. Having a plan will motivate us to at least stick with the plan long enough to perhaps develop a new habit. Now that we have a plan developed and a designated place, let's talk about protecting this area. Our first line of defense is to clean up this area daily. I sort of let that be the last thing that I do before I go to bed, or certainly after I've kind of done some of the other tasks. I may be winding down for the night, but I just want to quickly put away anything in this area that doesn't belong. The power of a 2-minute tidy in this area is going to be phenomenal for you. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just a quick tidy, and then make sure that all the things that you need are right where you need them. So right here on my table, I have the current Bible study that I am teaching this summer. This is through the PCA, through the CDM, the Christian Discipleship Ministry, through the PCA. This is one of their summer studies from previous years, but we are going to be doing it this year at our church. Highly recommend this study so far. I have really been enjoying it. And then I also have my Bible case. This is from the James Method Bible mapping. So I have my Bible case, and in there I have my Bible, I have some highlighters, a couple of pens, and a small notebook. It's really just what travels with me with all of the essentials back and forth to church and wherever else I may be taking my Bible. And of course, glasses, because I'm getting older now. Having all of the things where I need them, when I need them, is super important to protecting this area and protecting my time. But how does this help us in the long run with this idea of increasing our knowledge and getting ourselves on the right path? So Paul tells us in Romans 12:2 that we should not be conformed to the world, but we should be transformed through the renewal of our minds. And why do we do that? So that we may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect in God's will. In other words, as we gain knowledge and transform our minds, we have a better understanding of when our desires are the right desires and when maybe they're the wrong ones. The more we know, the stronger the foundation for our desires can be. We discover more about what we believe, and our desires can develop a better root system and really start to flourish, which also will motivate us on in our decluttering efforts. We start to feel differently about the way that we look at our stuff and the value that it holds to us. And we may generally feel more at peace in our homes and just in life in general. It can feel far less chaotic in our homes, which encourages us, again, to spend more time in God's Word and prayer and with a lot less clutter. But rooting our desires in knowledge isn't the only way that knowledge can help us. Knowledge can impact what we believe, and our beliefs certainly impact our actions. And when it comes to decluttering, the actions we take based on what we believe, well, they can either propel us forward or hold us back in decluttering and feeling that productivity that we really want to have in our efforts, especially since we have all this passion to have a more simplified lifestyle and home. Our knowledge and how we believe about our things can really impact the efforts that we're making. And if you would like to know more about that, you can watch the video right up here. Thanks so much for watching, and until I see you again, keep fighting the good fight.